This is a cool looking little tube. So this is another Speyside.
Everything's Speyside.
Yeah. Everything's Speyside. Okay. God, look at the thick fucking neck on that thing. Really, look how thick that fucking thing is.
You're not breaking this ball.
Wow. You can't use that one for a Molotov cocktail.
It does not have much of a punt.
Yeah, no punt to speak of. And it's darker. So it's like a reddish kind of copper, natural cork, wooden.
With a wood top.
Wood top. I mean, the bottle looks cool. It doesn't give you a whole lot of info, but that's what this tube is for. What's it say down here? Do you have this written down? No, it says after 12 years, our craftsmen carefully pair the whiskeys together to get it just the right balance of fruit and spice. Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey. How do you pronounce that? Aberlour?
Aberlour.
Aberlour?
Yep.
Aberlour. Very cool. I'm interested to hear what they call that color.
The very first line on the description on this one is a pleasant burn.
A pleasant burn? Well, we'll see. It says golden amber?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. In this light, it almost looks like a red amber. So yeah, Paul doesn't really have shit to add to this one. Damn it. He's got a version of all of them, but none of them are the same. Damn it, Paul. Don't be appalled. I'm appalled. Dumb puns. It almost looks like a reddish amber. I'm looking forward to getting in this one. You ready?
I've been waiting to get into this one for a while.
I've been waiting to drink a scotch like you. Motherfucker. Good times. Welcome, dear listener, to the Savor the Burn podcast, coming at you not quite so live from the Savor the Burn studios. My name is Jonathan. Across the table from me is Mr. I didn't come up with a cool name for you this week. Huh.
It's all right.
Mr. W2 across the table from me. Mr. I don't have shit to call him this week. I didn't think of anything to, I didn't make fun of your hand because of the whole the surgery. It looks like remind me not to piss you off because the right hand comes strong sometimes.
I'm ready.
I'm not. Anyway, so across the table from me is Mr. Stronghand W2.
Cheers,
motherfucker! Wow! And tonight it looks like we're going to try something very cool from a little Scotch Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey from a company called Aberlour, established in 1879. What all can you tell me about it?
This is another 12-year. It's a single malt Scotch, coming in at 80 proof once again.
All right.
Retails for $62.
62.
So a little bit more. Not bad though.
Yeah.
So a lot of these that we've been talking about, and as we've gotten into presentation or whatever, I think we both have kind of agreed that, anytime you have a bottle that comes in a box, that presentation elevates a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you give more weight or the same weight to tube versus box? Is there a difference?
Yeah, there is a difference, but no, I don't add more weight to the tube versus the box.
Okay.
And vice versa, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I just think it looks really cool. Both of them would be great for gift wrapping. And if you give that to somebody that, like, if you have a Scotch lover or you have somebody that likes Scotch and you've tried this and you think it's great. I haven't tried this. I'm looking forward to it, but like, if I end up liking this, and there's never a guarantee, there never is. But if I end up liking this, and I got a friend of mine that's into Scotch, and he hasn't tried it or she hasn't tried it, I'll get him a bottle.
Yeah. I
don't care if it's, what'd you say, 62?
62. Yep.
I don't care if it's $62 because it's gonna last them.
Yeah.
Unless they're fucking drunk, and then I'm not buying them a bottle of Scotch. Have you ever bought anybody a bottle of Scotch?
I have bought. I forget who did I? Yeah, I have bought a bottle of Scotch And I'm blanking on who it was for.
Okay. Have you ever bought anybody a full case of
No.
Scotch or whiskey?
No, have not done that.
Huh. I have. Yeah. So the
Johnny Walker Blue?
no,
No.
God no, that was like 200 or 200 plus for one bottle,
Right.
and I was like, holy blue fuck. But
Yeah. You'd probably be in $1,000 for the
and it's
case.
good. It's good. It's not. I don't think I'd buy another bottle for $200, but I got it because my son got it, and I wanted to have a drink with my son. You know, as a congratulations for doing something cool in the Air Force or whatever. As a toast. You know, a special moment to share. So anyway, I bought it, but I think the Highland Park 12 would be good. The Glenlivet 12-year single malt double oak would be good.
There's just so many options. I mean, I feel like...
And they're all subtly different.
Yeah. You know, and I think it can also be said for whiskeys and bourbons also.
Definitely.
But, man, I mean, just, you know, usually when you go to the liquor store, your bourbons and your whiskeys and your ryes are all kind of in the same area.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, Scotch by itself will have the same size section just of Scotch.
Yeah.
Going into Total Wine today, there's an entire aisle of nothing but Scotches, and they're all in really cool boxes and tubes. And this particular one was another one of my quarterly picks from Flavier.
Yeah.
But you can find this one locally at a lot of places.
Just about anywhere.
Yep. Total Wine had a ton of them on the shelf. I've seen it at Stanley. I've seen it at other places.
But you got it as a quarterly free bottle.
Yep.
So once a quarter, you get to choose your own free bottle. So, you know, dear listener, if you're interested in something, if something like that sounds good to you, definitely go to savortheburn.com/shop, and the first thing you'll see is the Savor the Burn affiliate link to flavier.com. You go in there, you sign up, you get a free bottle, and then when you do that, then we get a free bottle as well.
Yep.
And if you want to, you can let us know what free bottle you got. Send us an email, Jonathan at savortheburn.com, W2 at savortheburn.com, or just info at savortheburn.com, or hit us up on any one of our social media accounts. You know, slide in the DMs. I don't think you can do that on our YouTube account, but definitely thank you for subscribing on the YouTube account. But you can go into TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can any one of those. You can slide in those DMs, I believe, and you can let us know what bottle you got, and it might make us want to get the same bottle so we can taste it with you.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
I think it'd be really cool because I love that we have fans, and I love that we can personally have moments with the fans that are unique and special.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it at all, but maybe at some point it makes sense to go live on one of the platforms.
That'd be great,
and do a live tasting.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so if that sounds fun to you and sounds fun like with some of your goofball friends, definitely share our socials with them because the higher the number, the easier it is for us to go live. Some like TikTok, unless you have, I think, 1,000 followers,
like
you can't go live on TikTok. But I think Facebook you can almost immediately.
Yeah,
I think. Yep. But yeah, we could definitely do that. Anyway. Back to this Aberlour Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey. We've tried a Speyside before, and it was good, borderline great. The bottle presentation had a lot to do with it. Well, maybe not a lot to do with it. It had a lot to offer on its own.
So there's some interesting things here in the little write-up that I pulled off of online. So I'm going to read through it a little bit.
Yeah, what do you got here?
It starts with a pleasant burn. That's kind of the opening tag with it.
Yeah.
Which I immediately liked.
It's almost like it was written,
it's like
written for us.
Let's savor that. The waters in these parts of Speyside are known not only for their purity, but also for their healing powers, according to Druid priests that lived there in times of the Celts. Later, they used the same water to baptize them into Christianity. So it's no wonder they used nature's best and produced a fantastic product. What better thing to make from water? Whiskey. True to the legacy and heritage, young James Fleming, a farmer's son who supplied grain to local distilleries, had a dream to build a perfect distillery in the 19th century. A daring modernist as he was, he did not let anything defer from his expectations, and his dream of the perfect dram lives to this day in the Aberlour distillery. Aberlour 12-year-old double cask is matured in two kinds of casks, an ex-sherry and ex-bourbon for at least 12 years, and then married together for a short period before bottling. A heavy brooding malt that is warming with lashes of sherry, dark fruits, and wood smoke that is not to be trifled with. So again, there's that ex-sherry cask,
Yeah.
and ex-bourbon cask. I think that's a really interesting kind of combination that they age it. And if I'm reading that correctly, they're taking two different barrels full of the Scotch, aging it for 12 years, and then marrying the two together in another barrel
Maybe.
for a short term, and then bottling it. That's cool.
Yeah, I wonder how they do that. Probably some trade secret that we're not meant to know. I did the old swirl test and held it up to the light, and it took quite a while for the
It's got lots of legs.
for the legs to kick in the first time.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're definitely there.
This
now.
bottle is just so cool. I mean, again, the heavy glass of this bottle and the thick neck on it.
Thick neck. It's like the Corey Taylor of the Scotch bottlenecks. Thick. It's a thick son bitch. What are you thinking on the nose? I'm thinking it's sweet. Mm-hmm. It's got some.
There's definitely some honey in that.
There's a touch of something else in there. I can't quite figure it out.
A little bit of fruit.
Fruity. Yeah, it's like a subtle, creamy. Well, not creamy, but it's a subtle kind of clean scent or whatever that you get from baby wipes. This has a bit of a subtlety of some kind of freshening scent to it.
I'm getting a little chocolate on the nose.
Maybe white chocolate.
Yeah.
With almonds.
I'll go with white chocolate.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get some on the palate. There's a little bit of spice on the end.
A little bit of wood.
Yeah, and part of what I like about this bottle is what you just pointed out, the raised lettering.
Raised lettering,
on
yep.
the glass. It reminds me of Bullet bourbon.
Yeah.
This is, of course, it's a different style bottle, and I don't think any Bullet bourbon comes in a fancy tube like this. But it's very cool looking. Very cool looking. I like it.
Very classy. I mean, that deep crimson red.
Yeah.
It's just it's got a nice elegance to it. Yeah, I'm getting more chocolate and honey on the palate.
For me, the chocolate on the nose was very faint. On the palate, I'm not really picking it up.
And I'm definitely picking up that sherry also.
On the tail end, yeah, the sherry's there. On the tail end of the finish, it's got like a menthol kind of thing to it, which is definitely different. Like this thing, it's got your attention the entire way through.
It's got a sweetness that just kind of follows start to finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a creamy kind of caramel, a light caramel, as far as the sweetness goes, and it follows it all the way through the palate into the finish.
I think a lot of bottle labels kind of do this, but I'm a fan of the label that kind of has that torn edge on the bottom of it, kind of a look.
Okay, I didn't even notice that.
So it kind of gives it a little bit more of a, and obviously it's printed, it's not handwritten, but it's got a hand signature on the dotted line, so it kind of gives it that hand signed feel to it. Yeah,
that would bring it. That would bring up some of the rating for me for sure. If it had a note on the neck or somewhere that told us like what bottle, what rick, the whole thing.
I just noticed this too on the metal top to the tube is embossed with a little logo seal kind of thing in it, and it says Let the Deed Show. Distilled and bottled in Scotland.
Yeah.
Which is a requirement to be called Scotch.
Right. Yeah, and the peatiness on this kind of takes a back seat.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a little bit more present than it was in that Glenlivet.
It's almost like it's equal parts sherry, oak, bourbon to oak, and and peat. Yeah. So like the more I think about it, the more interesting this Aberlour Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey is. And to help your food for thought, the tube that it comes in here, it's got all kinds of information on the back of it. Aberlour whiskey was born in the Speyside village of Aberlour, made with local spring water from the Ben Rhines and barley, now locally sourced from the fields near our distillery. We mature this single malt in 2 different casks, American oak and Spanish sherry. Their rich flavors infuse our whiskey over time. After 12 years, our craftsmen bring the spirits in both casks together. This is an art, not a science, just to get the right balance of depth and flavor. As our founder, James Fleming, knew back in 1879, the truth is always in the tasting. It says it's golden amber with a little ruby red. I would agree with that. The aroma, the nose, soft and rounded with red apples. The taste is sherried with chocolate. You fucking said chocolate. Toffee. I might have said toffee. Cinnamon and ginger. Ginger. That's what it was. The finish is lingering, sweet, and warm with a little spice. Like you said, the deed is in the tasting. Now that I read that, I realize that you probably just read all that.
Not that. No, sir. Slightly different.
Yeah, you read the deed is in the tasting.
Yeah, that was what's on top.
Oh, okay. I started to get worried. I'm like, fuck, did I completely space that entire thing out that he read?
Let the deed show.
Let the deed show. Let the deed show, and the deed is in the tasting. Wonder what they mean by deed. The act?
The act, yeah.
Or...
Well, and in this little seal, there's a... I can't quite tell.
Some kind of flower.
Some kind of a flower, some kind of a grain.
Yeah.
There's a leaf. Or is that a leaf and 2 hands? Which I think maybe makes sense. That's the deed.
It is. It is.
Cultivating.
It's an oak leaf and 2 hands.
Okay.
Let
or the elm. Deed show.
Yeah. Very, very cool. I need to figure out my overall rating. What did you give it on the nose?
I gave it 4.5.
So I see we're back at our usual way of doing things. Because you gave it a 4.5. I gave it a 4.25.
Okay.
On the palate, I gave it a 4.0. How about you?
I gave it a 4.25.
Okay. How about on the finish?
I enjoyed that little bit of spice that came in with, and a little bit of smokiness.
I did too.
In that finish. So I gave it a 4.5.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it a 4.25. But I did enjoy it, like, as much as you did. How about bottle presentation?
I bumped up a little bit. I went up to 4 3/4.
That's right where I was at. 4 3/4.
It's a beautiful presentation, and I'm reaching over the table here. It's not an overly short, squatty bottle, but it's definitely a little bit more squatty than your typical Scotch bottle. And then as a result, this glass is every bit of, I would say, 3/8 inch thick.
Yeah.
It's some seriously thick glass.
It's going to look great with a batch cocktail in it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And one thing on the finish that I don't really see anywhere is the really light oak that it has to it. I can't say that I've had many scotches that have any real hint of oak. But anyway, and I still gave the finish a 4.25. But overall rating, what do you got?
Even 9.
Wow. That's cool. I gave it a 8.625.
Okay. It's a solid Scotch.
It's a solid fucking Scotch, and it's good. It's it feels like it's got a like a more rustic vibe to it.
Yeah. There's almost an earthy quality to the palate, if that makes any sense.
Definitely. It's not my truck driving away, is it?
I hope not.
Have fun. I heard my brakes grinding on the way over here. You might want to get that fixed.
I think I've told this story before, but I think my first introduction into Scotch would have been in 2005, the first year that I was able to take the bike up to Sturgis.
Okay.
For the bike rally. And wonderful, wonderful time. Met a whole bunch of new friends, and one of them being a guy by the name of Kenny. I think it was like maybe the second, third day at camp up in Sturgis. And while we were up there, Kenny always had his Scotch and a little bit of water, and we'd just sit there and nurse his Scotch all night long. And one particular evening, it was early in the evening, the sun was still out. We were getting ready to start working on some dinner there at camp. And where we were camped kind of up on this little hill plateau area. Mm-hmm. But there was this big open field that was just down a small little hill, and then the field just kind of opened up right behind where our tents and everything were set up. And we were all just kind of sitting around in our chairs, drinking beers, whatever. Kenny was sipping on his Scotch. I think it was Black Label. I don't think it was Blue Label, but it was Johnny Walker.
Okay.
And so anyway, this particular night, he just out of the blue just popped up like a daisy, put his bottle down, walked over to his bike, rolled it down this little hill to the field, mm-hmm. and he fired it up and got on it. And he decided he was going to practice figure eights and all kinds of stuff in this grass field, right? And first attempt, as soon as he went to turn, he just tumbled right on off the bike.
Laid her down.
And Mitch and I were both sitting there watching all this, and both him and I both just immediately jumped up to, mm-hmm. First reaction was, let's go help him out. And a couple of our other friends that were also in the Shriners motorcycle team with Kenny, and knew Kenny for a long time, just kind of put their hand out and was like, nope, let him go. And so we're like, what? And so we just kind of sat back for a little bit. Kenny he's out in the field. There was probably mid-shin tall grass, mm-hmm. a little bit of a cushion, I mm-hmm. guess. He got up, picked his bike back up, went at it again, tumbled right on off again. Did this several times in a row, and eventually he did a couple figure eights and whatnot. But it was like, nope, let Kenny go.
Let him go.
Yep.
Let him do his thing.
Yep.
He'll be back.
He's out in the field. He's not hurting his bike. He's not hurting
Kenny's
himself.
Not in the office. He's out in the field.
Right. But yeah, that was my first introduction to Scotch, and pretty tasty. And I've kind of come in and out of Scotch over mm-hmm. the years since then, but definitely the last few years I have grown quite the taste and the palate for mm-hmm. a good Scotch. Yeah,
and I go through seasons of it. Mm-hmm. I'm not always in the mood for Scotch. I do like it, but when fall weather hits, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, bring it the fuck on. Like, and I'm
light
I'm
up that fire pit and
about the
open
only
that
time,
bottle of Scotch.
The only time I'm really not reaching or wanting to reach for a bottle of Scotch is during summer.
Yeah.
I don't really know why. That's just how it is. It's still good. I always like it, and I will drink it.
I think there's maybe a little bit thicker quality to it, and then both these that we've gotten into. This one that we've gotten into doesn't have a whole lot of smokiness to it. But
It doesn't.
But a lot of scotches do have a lot of peat smoke to it.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's part of that you just kind of equate to colder weather.
Maybe.
Versus summertime.
Yeah. Yeah, because colder weather means it's harvest time. It's time to put up your... When I say put up, I mean like preserve or in some way, can or whatever, whatever it is that you've harvested. And that means things like apples. It's time to make applesauce, apple butter.
Apple pie.
And to make some of that stuff, I mean, you got your copper kettle sitting over a wood fire out in the backyard. Everybody's taking a turn with a wooden paddle and stirring it, making sure it doesn't burn and stick to the bottom of the pot, of the big copper kettle. And, it's just, and part of the smoke getting in your eye the entire time is it's worth it, like being chased around the damn thing by the smoke. My mom used to say, "Oh, don't worry about it. Smoke follows beauty, honey." I'm like, okay, Mom. Okay, take a good look at me and tell me the truth.
If you're getting a face full of smoke from the campfire, though, you're not getting eaten alive by the mosquitoes.
Fuck mosquitoes and all their little friends.
I am very thankful. I have never been... apparently that tasty of a treat, because
really?
I do not get bit by mosquitoes. We can be in the house. Katie can be sitting there on the couch with 4 layers on, and the one mosquito that just for some reason has found its way into the house will bite her. And I'm laying, I can be sitting there, no shirt on, shorts, no socks. Nope. Wants nothing to do with me.
Well, it's probably because you're a bitter old man and she's just such a sweet person.
Well, there you go.
I don't even know you to be bitter about anything. Like, you get upset about something, but fuck it. I'm over it.
Whatever.
Like, I've seen you pissed off about something like for maybe a couple of weeks. But like, it's after it sits on the back burner for so long, in your mind anyway, from my observation, it's just like the back burner. It's not on high. It's not even on low. It's just back there, and there's no heat on the burner. So eventually, it cools off and it gets cold, and you throw it in the fucking trash and you move on. Which is a great way to be.
It eventually becomes a comical routine,
right? Because if you don't laugh at it, you'll go fucking crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So one thing. Back to it. So one thing I'm noticing on the back end of this, it's probably the mix between. I can't even tell what it is, but maybe it's the smoke and the oak. But it's almost got on the back end of the finish. It's almost got that coffee flavor to it, or maybe that's just wishful thinking. And apple.
Is there maybe a little bit of,
And the sherry is omnipresent.
Is the ex-bourbon cask kind of giving it a little bit of a bourbon trait?
It very well could be, because that's one of the things that we love about bourbon is the oakiness, the apple, the sweetness. That this is going to have because of the sherry anyway, and that's probably where some of that reddish color comes from. And I think since it's aged in both the sherry and the bourbon cask, it's got a little more complexity to it than I think one tasting can do. So definitely. I think as time goes on and you get more into this bottle, definitely explore those deeper reaches, or whatever you want to call it, into the flavor profile. Because I think the more you get acquainted with this bottle, the better it's going to taste.
Yep, I agree 100%.
Any closing thoughts on this?
I like this one too.
I like it too. And you know what? I think so does Pete. Paul. His name's Paul. And speaking of Paul, I asked you if you ever bought anybody a case of whatever. And I said that I did. And the guy's name was Paul. He was our accountant at where I work. And when he retired, I always knew that he liked this Scotch called Cutty Sark.
Okay. Yep.
It's got the yellow label, I think, with a ship on it. So I don't really know.
That's some harsh stuff.
Well, I don't know fuck all about Cutty Sark. I just don't. And I figured it would be harsh because it was like, 17, I think, bucks a bottle. Like, it's cheap Scotch, but he liked it, right? And I was like, I was going to buy him a bottle for his, kind of retirement gift. And then I saw how cheap it was. And at the time, I was friends with a liquor store owner, Connie Maxwell, for the whiskey barrel in Raytown.
Oh, yeah.
So I would go there, on my way home from work, stop in, say hi, whether I bought something or not. I was still there and stay in contact with her, but she retired from that. Unfortunately, I don't have her to kind of go to anymore and tap for some harder to find whiskeys and things. But anywho, I asked her, I'm like, hey, can I buy like a whole case of this? And she looked it up. She's like, yeah, it'll be like $120 or something like that. I'm like, let's do it. And so I bought him a whole case of this Cutty Sark, and it came in the case box, the whole thing, and he was pretty fucking surprised by it.
I think you can remove your fingernail polish with that stuff.
It's that harsh, huh?
It's paint thinner.
Oh man, I'd probably use that back in the paint booth then.
I don't know what the proof is on that, but it's been a hot minute since I've had any. But
is it high proof?
I don't remember, but it drinks like straight ethanol.
Oof. Well, let's see what Google has to say here. Look it up here. What proof is Cutty Sark? 100 proof.
There you go.
Cutty Sark Prohibition, bottled at 50% ABV. No. We got to back up. That's not it. Let's see how much alcohol is in Cutty Sark. I'll be damned. It's a blended Scotch whiskey at 40%, so 80 proof.
80 proof. Okay.
The 100 proof was the Prohibition version. So it's a black bottle with a white label. As far as that little thumbnail picture can go, it can go fuck itself. So, dear listener, thank you for listening to the Savor the Burn podcast. Once again, my name is Jonathan. Across from me is the what did I call you earlier? The Risen Hand of Redemption, W2.
Oh, Strong Hand.
Strong Hand. Why couldn't I just say Strong Hand?
The Risen Hand of Redemption.
Right? Maybe that'll be...
That's a metal band name.
Fuck yeah, dude. It's your new side project. So, all right, so we got...
Risen Hand of Redemption.
Risen Hand of Redemption. It's a long title. Might look cool on it might be an album title. Would that be a cool band name?
Why not?
Fuck it. It's a new band name. It's the new band that we don't have time for. So, any idea what we're going to do with it? All right. So, thank you, dear listener, for listening to this episode of the Savor the Burn podcast. Drop in. Let us know what your favorite scotches are, because we're on a scotch kick right now, especially now in the cooler weather, and we're enjoying it. And this is the time for scotch, as far as I'm concerned, along with anything else. Maybe not rum, never vodka, but definitely scotch and bourbon and whiskey. One bourbon, one scotch, and one beer. Little George Thorogood for you. Anyway, so I wrote down here, with an earthy and rustic vibe to this beautifully presented bottle, the various flavors enjoyed within are easy to enjoy at 86 proof. We enjoyed it a lot, and we think you will too. So I used enjoy 3 times. Whatever. We enjoyed it. We liked it. And we think
dear
you will
listener.
too. We enjoyed it, dear listener. We enjoy that you will enjoy it too, dear listener. Enjoy. So no matter who you are, where you are, what you're enjoying, and who you're enjoying it with, always remember to keep on burning.